if you're finding yourself consistently not doing the things that you say you're going to do, and this is what I mean, right? So you start off your day, you have a list of to-do lists, and then all of a sudden you get to the end of the day, none of the things are done. So you had all of these New Year's resolutions, and none of it is getting done because your daily items aren't getting done. And every single day is a cycle. And you're frustrated and you're in a rut and you're depressed because you're not achieving the goals you want to achieve. Here is how we're going to start changing it around this week, because we're going to save 10 hours. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Shirley. I have accomplished some great things, and I am helping you guys chase your dream life, and we're doing it 1 week at a time by putting actionable stuff into our to-do list so that we can actually accomplish the goals that we want to set out to do. The first thing that I want you guys to do is, when you get to the end of your day, you know how at the end of your day, all of a sudden you sit down in your computer and you realize, like, oh my god, there's all of these things that you have not been able to get done, right? Because you had your whole long list of to-do lists earlier in the morning, and so there's these things that you're like, I can't get these done. So you have two choices. You can either work later or you can get them done tomorrow, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to choose to get them done tomorrow, because the reality is that working later than you already have is going to prevent you from being at home, from self-care, from going to the gym, etc. And so that's the right move if you're choosing to work later. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to brain dump them, and you're going to choose what are the 6 things that are most important that happen tomorrow. So what are the 6 things that you absolutely need to get done? This is the Ivy Lee method. The Ivy Lee method is brain dumping those 6 action items, because that's realistically what you might be able to get done. We are going to combine the Ivy Lee method with the very traditional Eisenhower method of productivity that everyone knows, loves, and maybe hates, and we're going to put them together and create a baby. And this is what this baby is going to look like. So what you're going to have is 2 items that are going to move the needle, that are high value but low effort. And those 2 items, you are going to write them down what they are, and that's what you're going to do when you first walk in the next morning. Before you check your Teams, before you check emails, before you check anything else, you're going to get those 2 items done. Got it? Okay, great. The next 3 items should be high value and high effort items. So these are the stuff that's going to take you 30, 40, 50, 1 hour, 2 hours to do. You're going to actually block it out on your calendar and schedule it into your day as if they were meetings. Because everybody knows we tend to forget the stuff on our to-do list, but we will attend every single meeting if it's on our calendar. And so these are the items that are going to go into your calendar that you're actually going to get done and deliver by the end of the day. The next 2 items are going to be your low effort, low value items, and this is the stuff that you're going to get done before the end of the day, before you clock out. You know, when you're like, oh, should I go an extra 5 minutes or go an extra 10 minutes? That is what your extra 10 minutes is going to be. And then you're going to write down your 6 items, and you're going to do it again the next day. 2, once you've got that down, you will notice that you will start actually delivering work better and more timely. And so that is awesome. I love that for you. We're going to take this up a step by making the time between our switch from one item to another smaller. So here's what I mean. Did you guys know multitasking is fake? It's not real. It's just how effectively can your brain switch from one activity to the next. And so what you guys will find is that switching from an email to a Slack to hearing and trying to overhear your name in a meeting, that happens very effectively. Your brain can actively do this. That's because you're trained to do this. However, when you go from a deep work item, something that's actually important, to a second deep work item, that takes a little bit more time. Your brain has to kind of rewire. It has to think about, where did I leave off? What are the things that I really need to do? How can I present this work? And so what you will find is that most of the time, while your brain is rewiring, you're doing things that are going to procrastinate. So you're going to go into your TikTok, you're going to go into your Teams, you're going to go into your email, you're going to do something that is going to boost your dopamine to get yourself to be remotivated again to do that item. And it's going to take you longer. It could take 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes to get from one task to the next. That's too long. You guys are wasting time, right? So we're not going to try harder. What we're going to do is we're actually going to change the way that we plan out those items. And how we're going to do that is by writing our to-do list differently. So usually most to-do lists will look something like this, where it's like, film a TikTok video and then finish project X, and then so on and so forth, right? You're going to change that around, and you're actually going to write your to-do list like this. So you're going to take that Eisenhower method and you're going to write it in this format. And what this format is going to do is give you the more details so that you don't have to think about what the next step is. You just know exactly how to dive into that project. So instead of saying film TikTok video, you're going to say film TikTok video about productivity hacks. You're going to say, instead of finish project X, you're going to say go into the deck, open up slides 21 to 24, finish those slides, ask Samantha for the data for slides 15 to 20, get those slides in, and then finally send this over to your manager so that you can actually get it done. Does it take an extra 30 seconds to write it this way? Yes, absolutely does. Does it ask you to write things down as you finish them so that you know what the next step is? Yes, absolutely. But you guys will notice that when you're writing your to-do list this way, your brain takes a much shorter time to go from task to task, and you're able to actively jump into the next task much faster, which is going to save you hours of scrolling a week because you're not going to need that dopamine hit. You know exactly what you're going to do. 3. Something else that tends to happen, so once you have your Eisenhower method, Ivy Lee method combined, our baby, and we have our to-do list done right, what you guys will notice is that you will start getting frustrated because people will ask you to do things a la emergency, right? There's always a fire in corporate. That's not really a fire. Didn't realize I was a firefighter, but here we are. And those things are going to end up taking much more time than you originally intended, which is going to set you up for failure. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the 80-20 method. The 80-20 method means that 80% of your time should be proactive, 20% of your time should be reactive. So you're only going to block 80% of your day, and then that way when something like an emergency comes up, instead of doing it right then and there, you're going to say, hey, can I get this done by 4 p.m.? Why? Because you're already going to have blocks of time that are there to handle emergency items. So that way you're actually doing things in a time that you have given yourself, rather than just letting somebody else's emergency become your emergency and take your to-do list aside. Fantastic. So now you're going to have 3 different things, right? So you're going to have our Ivy Lee Eisenhower method. You're going to be writing your to-do list, right? So that you're avoiding the time in the middle. And then you're going to schedule 80% of your time so you have 20% available for other people. This is going to take you to the next step, which is the 1-minute rule. Here's what the 1-minute rule is. If it's going to take you 1 minute or less, you do it right now. Right? So you walk into the kitchen, you see the dishes that are in the kitchen, you know that you have to wash the dishes, you're going to do it right now because that's going to take you 1 minute or less. Okay? You walk into your bedroom and you realize that your clothes are still on the floor, you're going to put them in your hamper because it's going to take you 1 minute or less. You do it right now. So every single time you realize there's something going on where it's going to take you 1 minute, you're going to do it right now. Why? Because now you've understood that writing a to-do list takes time. You're also going to understand that if you don't have your to-do list, it's going to take you time to rewire your brain from one thing to the next. So in order to prevent that from happening, if things are going to take 1 minute, you're going to do it right now, because although you may not realize that 1 minute item is going to then turn into a 5-minute task later on, or a 15-minute task later on, depending on how much that accumulates. And if you have 3 or 4 of this, that is now an hour of cleaning up on Saturdays that you don't want to do. I don't know about you guys, I don't love Sunday resets, not my thing. So we're going to just do it right now, so that way things are still moving, getting done the right way, so that you can effectively save more time in the end. And finally, after you've gotten all of those things combined, you will notice that your time saving will be 100 times better, that you're delivering things on time, that you're actually getting the things done, that you're moving the needle forward in the projects that you want to do, and that is amazing. And so the last thing you're going to do is you're going to avoid your emails. But surely, my emails are so important. My job tells me that I have to have all these emails and all this great. We're going to talk about inbox zero in another email. So I want to be clear. I keep an inbox zero. I answer my emails every single day. My emails are clean. Okay, most of the time clients are going to get an answer from me in a couple of hours. But you know what they don't need to do? They don't need an answer from me that same minute. And you guys are treating your emails like your text messages. That's not necessary. So you're going to close out your emails for hours a day so you can actually accomplish the things. And what you're going to do is you're going to schedule time in to answer your emails. Here's my times: 8:30 to 9, 12 to 12:30, 4:30 to 5 p.m. Those are the 3 times in the day that I've blocked out in order to get through my emails, and I'm able to effectively do it. Because most of the time, the email doesn't need an actual thing to get done right that minute. You just need to let them know, hey, received, I've scheduled it in for this date, which you will automatically put it into your calendar because it's going to take you 1 minute or less. So that way you're going to be able to deliver things the day that you told the client that you'd be able to deliver things, while at the same time keeping an inbox zero, making sure the client understands that you've received their items, but also making sure that you are the one owning your schedule and not your clients. Try this out this week, and I promise you, if you do not save 10 hours or more, we're doing something wrong. We've got to go back to the drawing board. But if you find anything interesting in this video, go ahead, click the subscribe button below. I'd love to have you. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, so that way I can be helping you guys out a little bit more. And I will see you next Thursday.